to 2023. I hope you all had a really nice New Year's Eve. If you're watching this on the day of that I release it, January 1st, 2023, I hope that you have a restful first day of the year. I thought I would kick off the book talk with my goals and plans for 2023. Plus, because this is a Sunday, the books that I'm currently reading, which is actually, this time I'm not currently reading anything, but these are the books that I'm going to be starting today. Because as I've said in past videos, I like to start the new year fresh. So I made sure I was caught up with everything before midnight on the 31st, so I could start fresh today. So let's start with goals. I like to keep my goals simple. And my thinking behind my goals is not so much that I'm trying to strive for something or trying to improve on anything. Well, sometimes it's a little bit of an improvement, but mostly they're a tool to keep me on track. So I only have 3 goals. The first one is my Goodreads goal, which is how many books I'm planning to read for the year. In 2022, my goal was 120 books, and I read over 155 books. So obviously that was a little bit low, and I looked at my reading, and I think I average about 12 books a month. So I'm going to set my goal this year for 144. Now, I know that's less than I read in 2022, but that's okay because it's not my goal. My purpose behind my goal is not to read more and more and more every year. My purpose to that goal is to make sure that reading stays a priority for me and that I stay on track. So reading for me is self-care. If I don't get my time to read every day, it shows, and I need to be able to do that. So if I have this goal that's really set for what is a good natural pace for me, it's going to keep me on track. So my Goodreads goal is 144 this year. Now, my second goal, if you've noticed, I have a slightly different background, and that's because for Christmas, I got bookshelves. I got 2 bookshelves, and I realized 2 things. One is I'm going to need more bookshelves. And the second is my plan was to use one as my keeper shelf, which is almost full, and one is my TBR shelf, which is this one. But this is not my entire TBR because I can't fit my entire TBR on this shelf. So my first thought was I want my goal to be that by the end of the year, I'll be able to have my entire print TBR on one bookshelf, which is a fine goal, but it's kind of hard to... It's not very concrete in a lot of ways, because what does that mean, being able to get it on here? So I wanted to assign a number to it. I think that if I decrease my number of print books over the year by 20, I should be able to get them all on this shelf. I currently have about 170 print books, so that would just mean decreasing this by 20. Now that doesn't just mean I read 20 books a year and that's that, because I actually belong to the Book of the Month Club. I will now and then pick up print books, so there will be some print books coming in, so I have to be able to compensate for that. But I think that setting it over the year, 20 down net is good. And I plan to check in on this quarterly, so as of April 1st, I should have about 165 books, no more than 165 books. As of July 1st, I should have no more than 160 books. As of October 1st, I should have no more than 155 books, which means on December 31st, I should have no more than 150 print books on my TBR. So that's goal number 2. And goal number 3 is a little bit of an improvement goal. I looked at my stats for 2022, and 25% of the books that I read were by own voice authors, which is great. I think that's probably a higher rate than your just sort of casual reader gets. So I'm proud that I make an effort to read diversely, but I'd like to improve that a bit more. So I'm just going to tack on 5% to it and say my goal is to have, by the end of the year, 30% of the books that I've read be by own voice as authors. So I track that as the year goes on, so I should be able to keep an eye on it. So those are my only 3 goals for this year. In addition to my goals, I do have some plans. There are 3 actually, challenges or read-alongs I'm planning to participate in. One is Sue's Big Books of Summer. She does this every year where you try just read some bigger books during the summer. In December for my Book of the Month picks, because I got 2. I got Babel by R.F. Kuang, and then because it was one of the books of the year, you could also pick one of those. I got The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. Both of those are big books. And I got both those books with the plan to read them this summer. So that will be part of my big books this summer. Then November will be a busy month because I plan to do nonfiction November again, and I'm going to be a little bit more into it this time. I'm going to try and follow the keywords and try to choose my books according to that. But I also want to do the Skoden Readathon. I found out about this too late in 2022 to really participate, but I love Indigenous literature, so I really want to participate this year. And now that I know what it is and that's on my radar, I'll be able to know about it a little bit sooner. Another goal of mine is each month my daughter Lily, who is my director, producer, power behind the camera, is going to give me a book from her collection that she thinks I should read. There are a couple caveats to this. One is no manga. I draw the line. I mean, I know people love manga. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. It's just not for me. Two, she can only give me the first book in a series unless I've previously read the first book. She can't give me the 7th Enola Holmes book. She'd have to give me the first Enola Holmes book. So I asked her today what book she was going to give me for January, and she's still thinking about it. So stay tuned for that. And the other thing that I'm planning to do, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, is when I read A World of Curiosities in 2022, and I loved it. It was a great book. Part of me wondered if I loved it so much because it had been so long since I'd read anything by Louise Penny, because I had been caught up with the series. Reading Louise Penny is something that brings me great joy. And I have the entire Three Pines series. I have books 1 through 17 in print, and I currently have the 18th book, A World of Curiosities, on my Kobo. When it comes out in paperback, because you want all your books on your shelf to match. When it comes out in paperback, I'll get that. So my plan for this year is to just have a Louise Penny book going. My plan is to read just a chapter a day and give myself a little bit of time in Three Pines each day. We'll see how that goes. I'm not going to be super strict about it. If I miss a day, no big deal. I'll just pick it up the next day. I don't need to catch up. I don't have a schedule. Louise Penny is going to come out with a book in 2023. She said that in interviews. I'll just stop where I am in that and go in with the 19th book when it comes out, and then I'll just pick up again. This is not the point of the Louise Penny read along is not to stress me out. It's not to accomplish anything. It's just to give me that little bit of time each day in a place that I really enjoy with with characters and people that I just love. So now, because it's Sunday and I haven't done a weekly reads for a little bit because I took some time off during the holidays to spend it with my family. And as I said, not actually reading anything at the moment, but I will be starting these books today. So let me go through those. So my first book will be my main print book. And I think this is where I have more space on the side. The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. This is a book of the month club book that has been on my shelf for like 3 years. Let's see, it was March 2020, so, 2.5 years. One of these days I'll do a video about how I choose my TBR-ish thing. But this one came up. So it seemed like kind of a nice little light thing to start the year off. So I am going to start with The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. We have my digital book. And because it's going to be a book club book, actually very early on in January, so I need to get on it. It's Everything Here is Beautiful by Mira T. Lee. As you can tell, this is not a digital book. I committed the reader's sin of, I knew I had to read this book because I knew it was going to be for my book club. And I found it on sale at Powell's, so I picked it up, forgetting that I already had a digital copy of it. So I will be reading it on my Kobo. I will be holding on to this in case I love it so much it needs to go on my keeper shelf. But if not, I'm just going to donate it to the library book sale and give myself a little slap on the hand to remind myself to not buy books that I already own. That I have my audiobook, which is The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. And again, this is clearly not an audiobook. However, this time it was not an accident on my part. I have listened to Becoming by Michelle Obama and A Promised Land by Barack Obama, but I've also kept the print book so I can refer back to them. And also I know this is a book I'm going to want to keep. So I made a conscious choice to not only get the print book, but also get the audiobook from Libro. So I will be starting some life lessons from the Queen, Michelle Obama. And then for my short story collection, I have one that I meant to get to in 2022, but I just didn't get kind of a break in my schedule. And that is the 12 New Marple Mysteries. I'm not really sure. I guess it's just called Marple. That's the actual title of the book. And it says Agatha Christie because, of course, Agatha Christie created Miss Jane Marple. However, these stories aren't by Agatha Christie. They are by 12 contemporary authors, including some that I read quite a bit, like Ellie Griffiths, who I adore, and Ruth Ware, who I also really enjoy, and as well as some other authors that I've not read yet. So I'm really I've heard really good things about this, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. As I said, I had planned to get to it in 2022, and I just didn't get a gap in sort of my reading schedule when it came to short stories. So I'm going to start the year off with this one. And then, of course, I've talked about this in the past, my year-long read. In 2022, I did The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. In 2023, I'm going a little bit more modern, and I'm doing Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This book I have had for a very long time on my Kindle, and I figured that it's a nice big long book. It's going to keep me going for the year. I do have a schedule for it. If anyone's interested, I can share the Google Doc of the schedule I have for this if you'd like to also do this. But I'm looking forward to reading this. I've heard my bookish best friend, so I have a friend who has very similar reading taste to me. I call her my bookish best friend. I've referred to her in the past on this channel, but she had some problems with this. I'm a little nervous, so we'll see how it goes. However, because it's like a slow and steady read, I think it's going to be an easier go for me. And then finally, I'm going to start my Louise penny chapter a day. So we are going to start at the beginning. We're going to start with Still Life. If for anyone who's watched the Three Pines series, you know that they did not adapt this book. There is an earlier, like, made-for-TV movie version of this book, which is not great. I was watching it one time, and my husband came in and asked me why I was watching a Hallmark movie, and I don't think a Louise penny adaptation should be like a Hallmark movie. But this one was not adapted in the Three Pines series. I do think the Three Pines is a pretty good adaptation of her books. I know some people don't agree with me. They want it exactly like her books, and it's not, but it's an adaptation. It's true to the spirit. But I am looking forward to getting back in this because this is where we really meet the people of Three Pines, and you really start to get to know them, as well as getting to know Armand Gamache and Jean-Guy Beauvoir and Isabelle Lacoste. Even though we don't see a lot of Lacoste in the books, that's one reason why I love the TV show. So that's what I'm going to be reading, that's what I'm kicking off 2023 with this year. And I'm looking forward. I think this is going to be a really good reading year. I'm happy with my goals and my plans. And of course, I will keep you all updated as we go along. I'm going to take a leaf out of the book from Rincey at Rincey Reads, and I will be updating my goals, doing a video of updating my goals every quarter. So those 3 goals that I talked to you about earlier in this video, which is my 144 book Goodreads goal, my decreasing my print TBR by at least 250 books, and increasing my percentage of own voices authors to 30%. I'll be updating those 4 times this year, so you'll keep me honest with that. Anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe, like the video, say hi in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.